So is it just me, or does it seem like every time Takara puts out any figure, it gets roasted, it gets destroyed? People are extremely brutal when it comes to a Takara release. They don't cut Takara an ounce of slack. And yes, I understand not cutting Takara any slack because they are supposed to be the best in the game. I understand why everybody's upset about a lot of things going on with Takara, with breakage, with price, with trying to say it doesn't hit the aesthetic. So we're going to get into this with the question of, should Takara even make Masterpiece figures anymore? Should they quit? We're going to talk about this coming up. Now, I've touched on this topic several times in the past, and the reality of it is Takara started the Masterpiece line of Transformers, by the way, and they continue to innovate and they continue to do a lot of great things. But, we're going to start this video talking about the negatives that everybody says. It starts with, well, we got a reveal of this RC, and instead of people excited about it, the mass majority of people are dogging on it from one way or another. And the reality of it is, I was super hyped and super stoked, and now I'm a little bit down in the dumps about it, personally, because there are a couple of issues with it. Now, we're going to get into more detail about this one in a minute, but the reality of it is, every time anything comes out from Takara, it gets bashed. It's funny that I heard nothing but negativity about Trax, and I actually like the figure. Now, oddly enough, yes, I did get the KO. I will admit my Trax is a KO. My Trax has rubber tires. My Trax doesn't ever feel like it's going to break. And yeah, it's the backpack thing. But I think it's a cool figure, and for the character, I think it really fits. Their Trax fits the character well. But yet, there was a ton of bashing when this thing came out. Way, way, way back then. And people to this day still think we need another Trax. I don't think the character really is that interesting enough to make another one, even a third party to go after it. By the way, no third party has, right? On the flip side, I have a lot of personal hangups about the way they went about making their Ultra Magnus. I think he's way too big and way too bulky. He is not screen accurate in my opinion, but yet, for whatever reason, people love that figure. People don't bash that guy. Maybe it was a sign of the times back when he came out. Takara was still on top in everybody's opinion, and now it's just kind of popular to hate Takara. Is that what's going on? So let's get into what the biggest complaints about Takara are before I give you all of the things I like about Takara's figures and the releases and the designs. Number one is fragility. People complain because they break. And yes, that scares me. Hound is a scary figure for breakage. I know a lot of people that have transformed but never broke them, but I know a lot of people that have complained that they broke them, and it is scary with those thin panels and all of that. The lack of die cast, okay, so that kind of is all lumped in there. So Hound also brings up price. $160 for a figure that 2 years ago we paid $120 for the same category of figure, and now the $120 price is put onto the mini bot, which used to be a much cheaper price point, like a $60 price point that we get with this Bumblebee. So moving to the next one is the aesthetic. See, people didn't complain about Hound's aesthetic because, well, Takara nailed it, but people are complaining about Bumblebee, well, the 2.0 aesthetic not looking good. If you look at him straight from the front, he looks great. If you look at him from the side, it looks a bit bad. And from the back, not the greatest at all. But nobody really displays theirs from the back. And from the side, it really depends on your pose. But I'm not going to 100% defend the fact that the feet look crazy from the side. And they look okay from the front. But in the end, this is the best looking Bumblebee that has ever been released if you look at it from the front. And by the way, what if Fans Toys makes one? And what if Fans Toys blows this Bumblebee out of the water? You know what? More power to Fans Toys. I will buy the Fans Toys. I might even shelf this on a different shelf or put it in its alt mode or whatever. Speaking of aesthetic, I personally think that MP44 nails the aesthetic the best. I have every other third-party version of Optimus Prime. I have no reason to lie about my personal opinion on this. I think the transform element looks great. I think that Magic Square looks great. If you had any of them in your display, it's fine. I think this is just that much better. I don't really think that it's $300 better. I think it's maybe $100 to $150 better at the absolute most. Maybe only $50 better. Let's go with that. It's not worth the extra price, but for me and my collection, I'm happy I have him. I think he looks great. But people go so far when it comes to bashing Takara to say that a figure that probably doesn't look as good is better, or a figure that doesn't work as well on your shelf is better because, what, they hate Takara? I've said it before, the biggest haters of MP44 are going to pick up the KO. And you know what? Maybe just out of curiosity. Maybe they get the KO out of curiosity because it's way cheaper. Compare it to what they have and make a decision then. There's nothing wrong with that. If you hate the thing and you go, well, I'll pick it up and I'll give it a shot at a KO, there's nothing wrong with that. And maybe the KO won't have a broken knee. But we're not done talking about the negatives that everyone says yet. Now, I am not going to lie. I'm not a huge Beast Wars collector. I bought Black Arachne. I haven't even opened her yet. I've had her for 2 months now. I haven't opened her, I haven't reviewed her. Everybody is bashing this thing left and right. They're saying that the alt mode doesn't look right. They're saying that the legs just snap right off and breaks easily, the spider legs. I'm hearing a lot of negative stuff, and I don't even care to open it yet. The truth is I actually have so much else going on that I kind of put it on the back burner, and I will review it eventually. But from the pictures, I think she looks great. I'm sure I'll open her up, just put her on a shelf, make her look great. I think you have to transform her, though, once. But I'll put her on the shelf, and she'll look great. But we've got the Beast Wars Megatron, and I have to admit, when I pass on an official release, and I get the KO, and I try to make sense of how does the KO look, feel, work, and act compared to an official when I don't have the official. Because I didn't think this character, in my opinion, was worth the $320. That's just where I'm at with Beast Wars. It's kind of a second tier collecting for me. If I could get a good price on it, I buy it. If I can't, I pass. But I really am impressed with the Toys Mage version of this guy, and I didn't have any breakage. I did feel a couple of joints. The right arm joint on the shoulder was tight. That was really it. Past that, good old Ben at Ben's Collectibles did a very good side-by-side comparison of them, and I do think the official paint job is better than the Toys Mage. So I think that there is some good to that, but I still don't think it's worth, what, another $220 more than what I paid for the Toys Mage? I think the Toys Mage is fine. And of course it has the English voice chip, so I feel like I really got something there. So my next point I want to talk about is that I've touched on the KO topic a little bit. And with KO, Takara is at the same time the highest priced in the transforming Transformers that there are. Yeah, I'm not talking about statues. I'm not talking about Flames toys and that stuff. I'm talking about transforming Masterpiece Transformers. They're the highest priced and the lowest priced at the same time because the KOs come out a lot cheaper. And at times get on sale or they compete with each other because there were 5 different versions of the MP36 that competed with each other, and so they all put them on sale until they sold out. And it was really cool to get this guy. I got 4 different versions to see which ones I liked, and I still have most of them. I think I still have 3 of them. They are really cool. This figure is cool. I passed on the initial one. Now I have a couple of KOs, and I think the KOs made some improvements from the official, but in the end, none of that would exist without Takara. I'm just saying, none of it would exist. We wouldn't have this giant plethora of options to choose from MP36 and all these infinite transformations, the Mag 10, the Toy House Factory. You wouldn't have all that if it wasn't for Takara to start it. The next thing people give a lot of crap to Takara about is the Plus line. And I was the first hater of Plus. Not because I didn't like what it was or how they did the paint schemes and all this. because I had them all. But I stopped and I thought every one of those that I had was a KO that I paid $30 or $40 for. So I didn't mind picking up the official in an upgrade, because that's where I was. Had I paid the full retail value for the first release, I would have been a lot more upset about this whole Plus line. And I understand the anger at Takara for the Plus line. I understand it. But in the end, they should have made a couple of upgrades. It shouldn't have been an exact one-to-one replication of their first release with just some upgraded colors, some upgraded paint schemes, or I guess a lot of people say downgraded paint schemes because they're a lot simpler, and the blue windshields. The most controversial Plus line figure is Shockwave because Shockwave got the better coloring. I am a huge fan of purple. Huge. I like the purple on the Plus so much more, but guess what? I haven't spent the $200 to upgrade from Lavender Wave. I still have a Lavender Wave because the purple on my Cloud 9 Quake Blast is actually even a bit superior to this. But if I could pick this up as a KO or something for like $50, I probably would. So what does the future look like for Takara, and should they keep making figures? Heck yes. I'm not a huge Beast Wars fan, but this Tigertrax... No, wait. Let me read my comments. Tigertron. The Tigertron. Yeah, I mispronounced it, whatever. Tigetron looks good. His price is too high. So everybody's going right to exactly to what the problems are. Price is too high. And they're saying that this is literally just a KO oversize of their own figure, Cheetor, which, by the way, I don't have a problem with that, because the more I analyze it, the more I look at it, the people in the comments section are right. This does look like it's just an upscale version of Cheetor, and with a different face head for the chest. That is interesting. It's cool. But if you're going to reuse so many components, why is the price $220 or $180 on Amazon Japan? So looking at that, I might wait for the KO. I don't know. We'll see what the Amazon Japan haul works out for me. I might pick it up. Now, as for RC, with all of her flaws and everything that is quote-unquote wrong with her, I don't even care. I know there'll be upgrade for the chest, and that's my only real issue. I can't wait to get my hands on it, figure out if I can work that chest in place and get it just right to where it looks good for me. But if not, if it's not on a sliding mechanism, or if there's not a way to fix it, there'll be an upgrade kit. But I still look forward to this figure because I think this figure, their design, has a lot of potential. I kind of maybe I look for the good in Takara. Maybe I'm the only person that looks for the good in Takara, because they have been putting out a lot of great figures, and they move the collecting masterpiece Transformers era into the next generation. So what do you mean next generation? So all of the hip flaps are more or less gone. Hip flaps now move with the leg. It's not just a flapping mechanism. It is part of the leg. It's integrated into the leg. That is something that they've done. That is something that is awesome. Also, looking at this Hound, the big wheels fold into the leg. That's something never seen before on any Masterpiece Transformer. Takara is going next level. The hands on Hound slide in instead of fold like they used to, which takes away, 3 panel lines. 3 panel lines are gone for simply deciding to slide instead of fold. Nobody would have thought to condense the cab on Optimus Prime by throwing that in the legs. And guess what? There are probably 50 pieces in that whole segment that make that work. And it all flows seamlessly. It works as it should. That part of the transformation, I haven't seen anybody break it yet. That seems like the big breaking point on this, and that has not broke on anybody that I know of so far. And it really does work. It seemed kind of scary at first, and everybody just got used to it, and it works. That is next level thinking, next level engineering. Also with the what, triple jointed knee? Well, if they can fix it from breaking, it was actually a good idea. And taking the absolute smallest alt mode ever in a Masterpiece line, that's considered a real masterpiece, and it's bigger than the previous version. Smaller alt mode, bigger bot mode than the MP28, and that's some great technology they're working in there. Now, yes, I know, the downsides we've talked about, but nobody talks about the upsides, except me. So I'm going to have an uplifting viewpoint, about Takara. Takara needs to stay in the game. They need to keep innovating. They need to keep making their figures better. They need to keep coming out with more releases, and they need to quit with the 2.0, the 3.0. You know what? I thought we were going to get a rehash, a third version of Seeker this year. They didn't say that. They said RC. You know how happy I am we're getting something they've never done before? Versus a rehash Seeker that you got to buy 9 of at $300 a piece? What's the math on that? This girl at $145 or maybe $120 or maybe $115 at Amazon Japan is a much better option for me. Like, subscribe, the Dream Hanger out.